Hey everybody, my name's Locke here with Co-Optimus, and today I'm taking a look at Pocketwatch Games' latest foray into the real-time strategy genre. So, join the revolution, come with me, and let's check out our video review. Tooth and Tail is a real-time strategy game set in an Eastern European anthropomorphic rodent revolution. The team at Pocketwatch Games previously stole our hearts with Monaco, What's Yours Is Mine, and they are back with their take on Popcorn RTS. Pocketwatch has removed many of the barriers for entry for the genre, such as a reliance on actions per minute or complicated unit management, and has made an accessible strategy game. When I describe real-time strategy to people, it usually comes with a blank stare until I mention something like StarCraft or Command & Conquer. These pillars established the genre and have paved the way for future titles, but nothing has drastically changed the way real-time strategy has been played. Collecting resources, building a base, creating an army, and battling your opponent. These are the foundations of any strategy game and probably haven't changed much for a reason. So why did Pocketwatch change it? Learning how all the units work in RTS is a basic principle, but also a huge mountain to conquer. One way Pocketwatch has changed this for Tooth and Tail to make it more accessible is having players draft their army into a deck before every match. There are 4 tiers of units with 5 units in each tier, and players choose any combination of 6 for the match. Drafting a deck is a genius method to teach players how to think about larger strategies before the match even starts, but also gives them a chance to learn the unit interactions on a smaller scale. The unit design is so smart, and each of the recruits comes with their own thoughtful art, sound, and tactics. If my deck gets completely outdrafted by an opponent, the next game I can swap out my owl for a wolf and see how that changes my strategy. This drafting mechanic hasn't been done before in RTS, and it is akin to many CCGs like Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, or Netrunner. Once a deck has been selected, it's time to put that plan into action. The rules of real-time strategy still apply here. Gather resources, build an army, command that army using your general. Tooth and Tail finds beauty and simplicity of mechanics to deliver complex design choices which don't intimidate the player. You still need to position your units, gain advantages of high ground and sight. You can't shoot what you can't see. Throwing your units at your opponent with little remorse will be punished by superior tactics. Microing units isn't as demanding as Terran Marines in StarCraft, but a player actively putting their healing pigeons in the back and their Badger tanks in the front is going to get things done. What is awesome is all of this can be done on a controller. It's literally one button press. Pocketwatch figured out a way to make RTS work on a controller, and it all comes down to smart design choices. The whole game can be played with 3 buttons and a joystick sitting back on a couch. But don't worry, for those APM analysts out there, you can still use a keyboard and mouse. There's only one resource in the game, which is food, and the only way to gain food is to build mills and make farms. While protecting your farms is important to ensure you have a steady resource supply, the more interesting aspect here is the mills. These structures not only provide food, but also determine the size of your territory, and in turn where you can build. This concept of map awareness and map control is something most players don't learn in an RTS until much later, after tons of matches. Tooth and Tail manages to emphasize this and teach this lesson even before units hit the battlefield. Now, I can't stress enough how well the campaign was done. It was very challenging, and definitely had to replay a ton of missions, if not every mission. But yeah, from the sound design and the music to just the beautiful sprites and animation, all the way to just walking through the hallways of your encampment, talking to each of your soldiers. Just the writing in there is dark and humorous, and definitely something that you don't want to pass up. What Pocketwatch has done with Tooth and Tail is distill the genre down to something digestible. This way, players don't have to invest a ton of time into learning mechanics, and can spend more time establishing and executing a strategy. Tooth and Tail still requires both a micro and macro game, but there is a focus on the nuances of what make this genre so enticing. Recon, positioning, counters, execution. These are the tropes within real-time strategy games which come with practice, failure, and testing, which means players have to invest a ton of time into learning. Pocketwatch has stripped away the usual barriers, allowing players to spend more time learning. As each match only takes 5 to 10 minutes, players can play more matches, resulting in learning faster. The co-op experience in Tooth and Tail is limited to comp stomp matches. You and a friend can start your own revolution against the AI, which changes the game on a meta strategy level and keeps the core game intact. There are still the randomized maps, deck drafting, and strategizing, you're just doing it with a friend, either across the globe or split screen. The split screen is actually really great and doesn't cramp viewing real estate as much as one would think. The vertical split allows for a great view of the battlefield, and of course, you can relay information with your partner to get a better idea of what is happening on the map. Communication is key in team battles, and having a partner beside you makes it that much easier. It's unfair to expect a similar co-op experience to something like Monaco, as this is a completely different genre. I'd be lying if I didn't want something a bit more in terms of co-op, but the game is so good regardless. I have to give it to the devs for coming up with a way to play an RTS with a friend on a couch using a controller. This simply hasn't been done before. The co-op games lead to some interesting unit combinations. Where else can I send a flamethrower boar riding into battle on a bed of snakes? Being able to plan, strategize, and play together on a couch with split screen is a really cool thing, and something I've never seen before in this genre. Maybe we can hope for a full co-op campaign and some future DLC, because I would like to see some more stories told in the world of Tooth and Tail. It's evident that Pocketwatch has play-tested and taken community feedback and iterated on Tooth and Tail over and over again, which is very important when you're making a strategy game, especially one that you want to be competitive and taken seriously. And I think they've nailed it and taken this Eastern European Revolution style theme, melded that with their own take on real-time strategy, with simplifying the controls, making short match times, drafting the decks. All these come together to make a really unique take on strategy. So I have to give it to them. They've taken a genre that's relatively inaccessible to people who aren't into it and simplified it, distilled it down, and made it so that anyone has the opportunity to play well, learn, master in a relatively short period of time. And that's awesome. That's fun. And yeah, like I said, no one's done that before. So it's really exciting to see, especially when you play a strategy game with a controller. Like, who knew? Yeah, so I have to give it to Pocketwatch, and with Tooth and Tail, they've really started their own revolution for real-time strategy and this steadfast genre that hasn't been changed or done differently for a long time. And, that's something I can rally behind. So guys, that's it from me. This is Locke from Co-Optimus. Once again, you can read the full review over on cooptimus.com. There'll be a link in the description, as well as if you want to check out Tooth and Tail, it's available on PS4, Steam, and GOG. So head over there for your platform of choice and pick it up, because it's a really fun game, and I think it's worth checking out. It's a full package. So anyways, talk to you later. Peace. Play together. Play friendly. Play well.